I don't know, Stephanie, you've been on many different oncology floors, but I don't know, have you ever been like on a basic med surg floor? You've been in ICU, I know.
I've been everywhere.
Okay, have you sensed something different on your oncology floor?
Yeah, on the oncology floor, I think it's fourth wing down at Inlow, I think, I can't remember, but there's a certain kind of black cloud that just hangs over the entire area because it's full of nothing but cancer patients, and it's almost like a morgue kind of, because you know the nurses and the doctors feel that the casualty list, if you want to call it that, is so high, you know, that everyone has a certain, you know, kind of downcast attitude because people die.
Yeah.
Almost, you know, they die at any moment. Excuse me. Anyway, being on the oncology ward is so, I don't know, it's kind of like black. It's the only word I can think of. Because being in other wards, I mean, every ward I've been into is different. Like on pediatrics, the nurses I've been in pediatrics, the nurses are they're so cheery, they're so, you know, really, you know, basic and really nice because they deal with new life. They deal with babies and kids all the time. And so that was, you know, really upbeat. The nicest nurses I've ever, you know, dealt with have been in the pediatrics ward. They care for you and everything. And it's cool. And then in another ward I was at, it was just, the nurses were just ditzy, really lame. Because they were just, in the ward, I can't remember what ward it was at Inlow, for instance, they just dealt with common things like someone broke their leg and had to be in the hospital. And they just, I was in there, I had a couple really bad infections, I was neutropenic, and they just came in, and my mom had said, you know, she's neutropenic, you need to wash your hands, wear a mask. They wouldn't listen to my mom. They wouldn't listen to me. And my mom just kept repeating, she's neutropenic, you need to wear a mask, you need to wash your hands. And the nurse just sat there, kept asking me questions. And it was like, finally I said, you know what, you're not listening. I am neutropenic, you need to get out of here until, you know, you wash your hands and wear a mask. And she said, well, I haven't got any orders from your doctor. And it's, you know, I think I know that I'm neutropenic. You don't need to hear from my doctor that I'm neutropenic. And the nurses from that, all the nurses I dealt with were just, you know, I don't know. They just were not.
They wouldn't listen to you. That was the problem.
They wouldn't listen to me, and they just were not being professional about the entire situation.
Allie, you have something to say?
Are you done, Steph?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
She just reminds me of a few things sometimes. Speaking of nurses washing their hands and things like that, or people in general. Speaking of nurses, it is not, like in the nursing handbook or whatever you call it, it is not required for someone to wear sterile gloves. There are clean gloves and sterile gloves. There's two different kinds. And when you're changing someone's lines that are neutropenic and you're taking a blood draw from them at 1 o'clock in the morning and they're so tired, you know, I'm on Benadryl or whatever, and I'm so tired I can hardly talk. And some nurse comes in with these fingernails out to here, you know they're full of fungus, and they're changing your lines and they've been with other patients that have other infections, and they've been in, you know, with their families or their grandkids or their kids or whatever, and they come in and change your lines. Even if they wash their hands, they've still got nails and things. That really bothers me. I think for your own protection as a nurse and for the patient's protection, you should always wear gloves. And I think anyone that comes in a room where someone's neutropenic, such as a custodian or someone to clean, should always be required. And the nurses should be the first people to remind them of that, that they need to have masks and gloves on because their patients are their priority at that time when they're on that work schedule.
Okay, 2 more questions. Your family aids in both of your care. I know that Linda, she's learned how to do every procedure, so have you. But when you're too tired, you know, your mom will do it. And I watched Leslie clean your
I've learned how to do it.
pigments, so you do that too. Has that helped a lot?
Having my mom know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it has, because then I get to go home and have to sit and rot in the hospital. I get to go home, and she acts and does all the procedures like she's been a nurse for 30 years.
She does. She's very good.
She handles herself in a very professional way, much more so than some nurses I've dealt with.
Okay.
I agree. It's very helpful.
Okay. And to wrap it up, what's maybe one thing you guys would like to say to us as student nurses? You guys have both been in different medical situations and dealt with hospitals and nurses. What's one thing you think we should learn from you? What's the main, you can repeat something, the main point you want to get across? Allie? Or Steph?
Being treated as a person, just like Stephanie says. I'm not just a patient with leukemia. And being sterile, considering the fact that my life is on the line. And it's just washing hands to you, but to me it's my life.
That's a good point.
I agree with Allie. I mean, it's my life you're dealing with, you know. And to be treated, and treat, you know, not just me, because you're probably, none of you will probably ever deal with me, but other people, treat them like, you know, like they're people, not just something that you have to deal with. You know, treat every patient that you come across someone with feelings, someone that needs to understand what you're doing, and someone, you know, people want to know what you're doing, and not everybody, you know, sometimes you're going to come across cranky people, someone that's frightened and scared, someone that doesn't want to be in the hospital, and to understand that and have a little compassion, a little feeling, and not walk out of your room thinking, you know, I wish I could just do something really shitty to that person because they're not in a good mood, you know, and have a feeling of, you know, that person is not being nice to me, but I can understand that, you know, and want to understand and want to, you know, be nice to that person even though they're being nasty, because you are the nurse. You're the one that should be nice to this person because you're helping them, even though they are being cranky. And not just, you know, have a little feeling for them having to be in the hospital when they don't want to.
That's a good point. And that concludes the interview session.
My old friend, I recall the times we had hanging on my wall. I wouldn't trade them for gold, 'cause they laugh and they cry me, they somehow sanctify me. They're woven in the stories I have told and tell again. My old friend, I apologize for the years that have passed since the last time you and I dusted off those memories of the running and the races, the people and the places. There's always somewhere else I had to be, and time gets thin. My old friend, don't know why, don't know why, don't know why, don't know why. Songs for you, 'cause a few simple verses was the least that I could do to tell the world that you were here. 'Cause the love and the laughter will live on long after all of the sadness and the tears. We'll meet again, my old friend. Goodbye, goodbye.